We have 3 different drills in the shop you need to be familiar with. The first is our cordless drill. The cordless drill has a battery that powers it, so when you grab it off the tool wall, it does have power right away. So you need to be careful that you don't have a bit or something in there and you accidentally hit the trigger, because it does have power anytime the battery is connected. So you can disconnect the battery and then we would be in a safer mode there to walk around and handle that drill. Now the drill does have a standard forward and reverse on each side. One has an arrow showing forward for forward and back towards the operator for reverse. Also, we have on the top a 3, 2, 1, and that is the gears of how, or the speeds of the drill. So 3 being the highest or fastest, 1 being the lowest with the most torque. We also have a ring around the top here. This is called the clutch. The clutch of the drill is used to set the torque, or how much pressure or twisting power there is against the screw. So 1 would be the lowest, and if we apply the power here, when it's on 1 and we give it the groceries here, we go ahead and give it full power, when it reaches that torque setting, you can see it just kind of gives out. So if you go up a little bit higher, it'll turn a little bit more, have a little bit more pressure. So that's when you're driving in and you hit the bottom of that material, it's going to keep the bit from, or the screw or the fastener from stripping out in the workpiece. So we have the clutch, we have the speed, we have the forward and reverse. This also has variable speed, meaning the harder we pull the trigger or the lighter we pull the trigger, it's going to go faster or slower. So if I pull it really light, it's going to go kind of slow. If I pull it fast, it's going to go faster. So it's got variable speed. The last thing we're going to talk about on this drill is that it has a keyless chuck. The chuck is what holds the bit. It opens and closes to hold different bits. And this one is keyless, meaning you don't need any kind of tools to tighten or loosen it. This would be an example of a keyed chuck. This has a key that would need to fit in there to tighten and loosen any bit in that chuck. Now, you don't see a lot of keyed chucks anymore, usually in heavy-duty industrial type of equipment. Sometimes you even see them on lower-end models of drills. Maybe you bought one at Walmart or something like that. You might find one that has a key. Now, the keyed ones can be a little hazardous because if you don't take that key out when you're done and this starts up, then this will become a projectile in the shop and could hit somebody. So the keyed chuck is a little bit safer in that aspect, that we don't have a projectile flying around. So that's a keyed chuck, has those grooves or serrations around there, and the keyless chuck typically just has some kind of gripper to hold on to. Now, when we go to install the bit, the safest option for installing and removing the bits would be to remove the battery so that we don't have power to the unit, and then we use our hand to open and close the chuck. So we would open it up to accept the size of bit you want, and you would line it up in there and kind of keep it centered as you tighten it up. And then once it starts to get tight, then you grab it and really twist, and you can hear it kind of lock or click a little bit. And then once that's done, then you would put your battery back in and you would test it to make sure that the bit is in there straight. So you would just give it a little bit of power to make sure that that bit is in there nice and straight. Now let's take a look at a couple of these other tools. This one here is also a drill. This one is called a right angle drill, and this works really well to get into tight spaces. You can see the size on there, a lot smaller area it can fit in than this bigger drill. Now it's got some downsides. It doesn't have as big a motor to run it. It does have forward and reverse and a high and a low speed, but there's no clutch on here like you find on the regular drill. So for screwing things in too tight or stripping them out, you're just limited by your guessing or how hard you pull the trigger there. So that's the right angle drill. And this last one is going to be a corded drill or an electric drill. So it has a cord on it that plugs into a regular outlet. And any machine or tool in the shop that has a cord, it's your responsibility as the operator to check the cord and make sure it's in good condition, that there's no breaks or splits in the case, and that at the end where the prongs are, that all the prongs are there that are necessary, that there's no missing prongs. Now they could be bent a little bit and maybe you need to straighten them up. Maybe they got squished. As long as they're nice and secure in there, you should be good. Okay, so your responsibility as the operator to check the equipment. Now this one has a few less features. It has forward and reverse only, and it has a variable speed trigger. There's no clutch, there's no high or low speeds, but it does have unlimited power when you're plugged in. Versus these battery powered that are limited by the amount of energy stored in the battery. So as the battery starts to dwindle, you start to lose power, and then ultimately when the battery dies, you're left without power. But they have extreme convenience that they're portable. We can take them anywhere, and as long as we have battery, we're good to go. The cord, we're limited to this leash, and we have to be as close to an outlet as this cord is. We can't be far away like we could be with the drill. Now when we're using the drill, we should have two hands on there, one kind of helping guide it and the other controlling it. We would not want to have our hand next to our workpiece or holding our workpiece. If this bit were to break or something happen and it moves, it's going to hit my hand. And we would want to have that workpiece clamped down so it's not sliding or shifting around as well. So we want to follow the safety precautions, keep the 4-inch margin of safety from any bits, blades, cutters, knives, or pinch points. So this would qualify as a bit there, and we wouldn't want to have our hand right next to that as we're holding down our workpiece. If you have any questions with any of these 3 tools, please talk to your instructor and they will help get any questions answered that you might have.